iconology. Reminiscences of evil icons like Mara Hindley and Pol Pot spring to mind. It does make me a little feverish, I must say. Iconology in itself is an undeniably interesting and unusual concept. Now, if you studied the resultant cause and effect of the images we aspire to, you might stumble upon, as I have during the recent past, the realization that such malevolent iconology does not always conform to our expectations in that regard. Anti-heroes, for example, have long been the apex of theatrical and literary achievement, from Dorian Gray and Sherlock Holmes to Kerr Avon and Luther and The Witcher, and the characters and psychological profiles made up of long-born angst and self-torment, ambition and addiction are forever within our hearts and our minds. This last summation might be explained by the examination of both challenges and addictions.
Well, now, all you had to do was ask.
These define and hone our personalities and predilections to no small degree, pushing the limits of faith and desire through the defining factors of allegiance and purpose, culminating in the decisions that define our lives.
And I am not retained by the police to supply their deficiencies.
These noxiously notable decisions are often hard and hurtful, but fortified by foresight. Through foresight is no get out of jail free card for real life anti-heroes like Trump and Mnangagwa. The recently elected President Trump in 2025 has started out his term taking on the world and instituting so many executive orders that it has ripped the social structure of America apart in its severity and fight against the DEI crows. No one knows where to go in the shock of the edicts that suddenly have imposed themselves upon America. President Mnangagwa has now effectively alienated half the population in his dictatorial attributes and pushing of laws since his term began, declining to do anything for the lower middle class in Zimbabwe and instilling fortitude in the upper middle class economy. He's now seeking a third term. This despite objections from his own government, in particular Nick Mnangagwa, who had to allay fear just recently for the trolling of tanks through the capital of Harare, claiming they were simply a training course. Frightened of yet another civil war, the people had to sit and listen to the war veteran of the ZANU-PF party, Blessed Geza, explained himself by saying, "I must apologize for helping him come to office in the first place." Now, all these people are indicative of the real-life anti-heroes we aspire to in fiction.
He continues.
Characters you love to hate in fantasy are simply the characters you hate in real life. Just look at Keir Starmer. Now, it's not my intention to be unduly depressing in my deliberations and diatribe. The rain doesn't drain despondency, it just doubles it. Such sentiments were summed up perfectly, and somewhat romantically, with a hint of misguided optimism in the Sherlock Holmes speech at the end of his story, The Last Bow, and, if I recall, the movie, the Basil Rathbone one. He said,
"There's an east wind coming all the same. Such a wind has never blew on England yet. It will be cold and bitter, Watson. And a good many of us may wither before its blast. But it's God's own wind nonetheless. And a greener, better, stronger land will lie in the sunshine when the storm is cleared.
Propaganda surrounding patriotism at its best. And here's the problem. We do not see such patriotism. When patriotism is taken seriously, it is expanded to such a degree that it has alienated half the population of any nationhood. Trump is a prime example in this. His interference in the Russian-Ukraine war is misguided and unnecessarily self-interested, and the shame of it is that he is so brazen about his intentions. Brazen. The defeat of the Kingdom of Gaza in 1850 by the Portuguese is a prime demonstration when historic anti-heroes go wrong. After he was repatriated in 1975, no remorse was shown for the fortunes of King Hussein, and Shilmir Dombo, the Portuguese chappie who wiped them clean, was a prime mover in the invasion, and he was raised to the level of hero. Stories pervert all our minds and level us up to the admiration in varying perspectives rather than the righteous discrimination.
I've got the sword of Azeroth!
This amounts to the creation of anti-heroes and is surrealist interpretation in fiction. Perhaps it's not despondency to which I allude, but delightful realism. The same realism to which we are all subject to one time or another. After the most prominent figures in history have found themselves subject to such realism and retrospect one time or another. If the Persians, for example, had stumbled on the beauty of Perseus, for example, had stumbled on the beauty of Medusa, he would not have had enough time to lob a head off before his nuts had turned to stone. Maybe that's a bad example. Common sense does not reflect beauty in itself, but neither does psychological attributes. But the aforementioned together are a formidable combination and can sway a destined path. That at least we aren't all addicted to turning people to stone.
We're all different! Yes! We are all different! I'm not.
Such addictive iconology is part of the trials and tribulations of life. Give us a good clicking.
Shakanaka.